Hey, what's up, you guys? So today's video, I realized that in my first video that I posted recently, um, in this series, the build series, I realized I never really explained what the build is for, what the build is, right? When I first started making these videos, I had mentioned that a large part of the reason I decided to start was because, I was like getting close to squatting 600, 600 pounds, which I did in the gym. And, that was like within the first 2 weeks of posting these videos, I think. So obviously that wasn't what I was building to. Um, the what I'm building up to, what this series is kind of building up to, is a meet I have in November, which is coming up real quick, less than 2 months away now, which is a little bit scary, but this will be my first meet that I've done. Or no, sorry, it won't be the first meet. uh, it'll be one of my first meets that I've done, um, outside of the collegiate stage, like as a junior lifter, not collegiate. And I'm hoping that it's going to be one of my biggest meets. It's my first meet where I'm going to be switching to a different weight class, where I'm moving into the current weight class I'm moving into, which is the 220 or 100 kilo weight class. It's not my first time switching weight classes. I competed 181 for my first few meets, and then I competed 198 for another few meets, and now I'm going up to 220, and I'll probably be around that for a little while at least. We'll see how I feel. So really the biggest thing that I'm building up to is trying to squat 600 pounds in a meet, or at least lift 600 pounds in a meet, whether that be squat or deadlift. Either of those would be good enough for me, to like justify this build series, right? It's one thing to lift a specific weight in the gym. It's another thing to do it on the platform, in front of people, with judges, in an environment that you're not familiar with, stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I'm leading up to. And when I was thinking about this, like thinking about talking about all this stuff, it made me think about goal setting, right? And I think a lot of people kind of cut themselves short. Well, a lot of people around me, it seems like their goal setting kind of goes one of two ways on average. Either people like to make really big goals, that maybe are within the realm of reason, generally speaking, but they're not quite as attainable as they think they are. Or, they're just on the very, very brink of being attainable. Just almost out of reach, but just tantalizingly close to being possible, right? Something that's almost unbelievable. Or they set goals that are way too easy and they sell themselves short. They don't, it's something so ridiculously low that, of course, they surpass it, but then they don't really have a drive to go push further, right? And in my circles, I see a lot more of the former. I see a lot of people trying to accomplish, insane numbers, insane goals, or things that are almost insane, but at the same time, almost believable. They're plausible, but just unrealistic, right? And yeah, I think that everyone should be free to choose their own path and their own goals, things like that. But from like a motivation standpoint, and just like an intrinsic motivation, being able to keep yourself going in the long term, I think that there needs to be a balance. And what I've noticed is that people who give themselves goals that are attainable, like for sure, and just need some effort, some decent level of effort to be put forward, it seems like those are the people who are able to keep themselves going the longest, right? So when I see people who make a goal of, okay, every 6 months, for the last 2 years, my total has gone up like 20 kilos every meet, right? And my body weight's gone up an average of, whatever, like 2.5 kilos every 6 months, right? And I say, okay, so my goal for the next meet is to add 2.5 to 3 kilos of body weight, and to add 20 to 25 kilos to my total. Like, that's a very reasonable goal. It's not easy. It's not as simple as saying, oh, I wish to at least match my previous total. Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's super reasonable, but it's not as insane as a lot of people who would say, okay, well, I'm going to try to gain 5 kilos of body weight and add 50 kilos to my total. I see that, I hear that a lot. And like, if you look at it logically, it's not like it's completely impossible for a lot of people with decent genetics. Like, if you can manage to put on 5 kilos of body weight over the course of 6 months, and especially if you're able to put on mostly lean muscle mass, yeah, you might be able to put on 50 kilos to your total. But I present you this idea. Let's say that you make it your goal to add 5 kilos of body weight, right? But you make it your goal to add 25 kilos to your total, 27.5 kilos to your total. And let's say during your prep, in the gym, you hit 30 kilos over your previous meet total. And then meet day comes along and you hit, 35 kilos over your previous meet PR. Well, not only did you attain your goal of adding 25, 30 kilos to your total, and hopefully also added the 10 kilos of body weight if you are attached to that, but you also surpassed that. I mean, not by like a insane margin, but you surpassed your goals. You did more than you were hoping to do. And I think that has a powerful effect on a lot of people. When I see people have an idea in their mind of what they want to hit, and it's something feasible and realistic, but not easy, like it's still challenging, and they're able to push past that. From what I've seen, it's extremely motivating, and it makes you feel capable, makes you feel like you're able to really push hard and accomplish more than you think is possible. And on that same vein of thought, I think it maybe can be easy to have something like that happen and then go, okay, I want to repeat this, or I want to do even better than that, which is something that I have done myself. But if you can stay on that path of, okay, you know, I can achieve this, like these are things I can realistically do, and if you can keep hitting those goals, keep progressing, I think that's just best for long-term outcomes. So for myself, you know, my goal for this meet is, like I said, I want to hit a 600-pound lift in a meet, hopefully squat. But I know that it might be more realistic to go for something a little bit lighter on the squat, and you know, shoot for just hitting that on the deadlift. But you know, we'll see what happens. Still got some time to get a little bit stronger. Yeah, you know, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, I'll try to keep putting out 2 videos a week, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.